Greetings. We're here in the city of Greer, South Carolina, where Dr. Andre L. Churchwell just finished having a great discussion on the intricacies of men's dress. My name is Dwayne Collins, President and CEO of Sartorial Servant Wardrobe Consulting Firm in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we're here none other than with the man himself, the elegant one, Dr. Andre L. Churchwell. And welcome, Dr. Churchwell.
You're way too kind. Way too kind. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming, doing the speaking for us tonight.
Absolutely. This is fun. This is, a person needs to have multiple passions in his life to sustain a long life of success and being a servant. And so men's dress is that great passion. It connects to everything that I do.
Outstanding, outstanding. Just wanted to ask some brief questions for me, and more importantly for our viewing audience. The first one is, what was the watershed moment that got you on the road to dressing well?
It would be my dad dressing my brothers and me on Sunday morning. The care he took, the diligence, his instruction set on what works, what doesn't work, why he chose a tie or a shirt and a color of a jacket for us. He did that for years and years, and though to some extent it was a bit of a pain when he started doing it, I eventually came to appreciate the great value of that as I got older. And then he turned it over to us, as he always did. He said, I'm training you to go solo. So now you're ready to go solo on your own with this dress thing. It became kind of a hobby and an interest, so I developed this huge library. I watched every movie he recommended I watch, both classic and modern, and it's put me on the road to kind of learning about dress and trying to be a passionate observer and a student.
Outstanding, yeah. Outstanding. So your father, outstanding. Now, with that being said, who is your favorite style icon and why?
Wow, well that's a hard one, but it probably would have to be Fred Astaire. It's a tough one between Gary Cooper, who's 6'3", my height, Cary Grant, who's 6'1", and Fred Astaire, who's 5'6", certainly not my height. But Astaire had this nonchalance, that swelligance, that sparatuzza that the Italians talk about, where it just kind of seemed to happen. Every time he stepped out on the stage or stepped out in a movie or stepped out in public, they looked at the pictures, he just was right. The tie, the jacket, the shoes, everything just seemed to just coordinate in this kind of unknowing, kind of amazing way. So it's the kind of casualness and the nonchalance of Astaire that I think we all try to aspire to. How it just, you step out. One of the things he would always say, I mean, if you read his writings in the Gentleman's Quarterly article in 1968, or in his autobiography, Steps in Time, he said, I put a lot of work in getting the garment and the outfit together, but once I stepped out of the house, I forgot all about it. I didn't care what happened. And so it is that sense of nonchalance. Oh, this thing? Oh, I just happened to put this on. Oh, so what? Oh, the stain on the jacket? Okay, so what?
Outstanding, outstanding. I guess Flusler said it best. No one wore clothes like Fred Astaire.
That's correct. That's correct.
Indeed,
That's
indeed.
correct. Indeed.
Yes, sir. Now, why is it that most men don't dress well?
Yeah, I think it's multiple reasons. I think men in general, maybe to some extent, think that it's not masculine to be interested in how you look. There'll be, which is a funny thing because don't guys pay attention to what kind of car they buy? The color of the car, the interior of the car, what kind of tires they put on the car? I don't think they're wearing the car. But the clothes they're wearing send signals to the world from the moment you step out of the house. So I think it is some of that, a sense of that, and I think a lot of that is now starting to change because men are starting to understand the power of dress, the importance of dress as women have. But a lot of it is that, and then there's a natural kind of unknowing. They don't know how to dress. They don't know the rules of dress, some of the attitudes and the relationships between color and patterns and fabric. They just don't understand it. They weren't trained by their dad like my dad. And my dad's friends at church, echoed his sentiments about dress. And we'd come in church and you could see them doing a dress off when they showed up in church in the sanctuary, Lord willing, Mr. Austin versus Dad, who had the baddest suit on that day. And so we were surrounded by these black men who were great role models in many ways, how they dealt with the realities of being a black man in America.
Sure.
And part of that was their armor.
Correct.
their clothing was, in a sense, their daily armor that they put on that allowed them to handle the vicissitudes and the challenges and the arrows that were being directed at them as being black professional men in the South or in America. And so we, my brothers, and those of us that were paying attention, grabbed those lessons. And so I think men in general probably haven't been educated. I mean, you were educated by your father. Your son is spectacularly dressed. He's been listening to you. And one thing that guys need to realize, guys that dress well get the girls. Women love guys in a spectacular suit.
Indeed.
Now, I'm married.
Right.
And but clearly, if you are out and about and you're wearing a spectacular suit, you get the best table in the restaurant. There is already an assumption that you can pay for that table. That may not be right sometimes, but you are treated better in the sense that of that kind of, once again, that visual, those optics do mean something, and it's the kind of thing we need to try to keep imparting to our younger generations.
Outstanding, outstanding. And our final question, Dr. Churchwell, can dressing well have an impact on society as a whole?
I think so. We've talked about this earlier. I look at civilization, the march of Western civilization, the development of industrial revolution, the technology evolution, but more importantly, manners, speech, etiquette, dress are all part of Western civilization that I view as the Rock of Gibraltar that's peering out from the ocean. And I think every time we look at incivilities can be microaggressions that begin to chip away at what Western civilization has wrought, has brought us to this great place in the history of man. And not poor attention to dress, poor attention to manners, poor attention to how you treat the elderly, are all small chinks that begin to wear away. I call them incivil acts that begin to wear away on that Rock of Gibraltar called Western civilization. And I think it is, some would say it's not that important, but it is. It is important. Dress speaks volumes every time you step out of your house, every time you walk into a store, you walk into the bank, you walk into purchase a car. I mean, how you look, how you carry yourself. How you carry yourself is not just the clothes. How you treat people, which is part of that civility. All that are the things that I think make what we call Western civilization what it is, and what makes, I think, people who look like you, dressed as spectacularly as you are with your spectators, it's that message you're sending out that we want more people to send. Yeah.
Outstanding, outstanding. Well, Dr. Churchwell, I want to thank you so much for taking time out your schedule.
Absolutely.
Have this brief chat with us.
Thank you, Dwayne.
And thank you so much for viewing.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you for viewing us, viewing audience, and remember these words by Pearl Bonder. Dress is the outward expression of man's state of mind, and it is his attire that tells the world what he thinks of himself.
Absolutely.
Peace and blessings.
Absolutely.